All right, it's time to welcome a man who's the backbone and the muscle of the Vegas Golden Knights. He's a guy that if you're out here watering your lawn when you shouldn't be, you better keep your head on a swivel because you might be getting a reality check coming. This man scored the game-winning goal that sent the VGK to the Stanley Cup final. He's an entrepreneur. He considers himself a young Denzel on the big screen. And he has one of the best nicknames on the team, folks. I'm talking about none other than the Grim Reaver, Revo, Mr. 7'5" himself, Ryan Reaves, my guy. How you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm good, man. Young Denzel, you like that?
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, I'm a young Denzel on the screen. What can I say?
Okay, Jay.
My favorite actor too. So
he's the man.
Yeah, he's good.
He's definitely the man. First, I got to ask you, man. Like, how are you enjoying your off season? You healthy? Feeling good?
I'm enjoying it now that hockey's over. I hate off season when other teams are still playing. I'm getting healthy, getting back into shape, back in the gym now. So. We're getting ready.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know the Golden Knights fans would probably want to know this. Like, how do you spend your off season? Like, are you a fisherman? Do you like to go to the movies?
I'm allergic to fish, so no.
Okay.
I've been golfing. I actually took up golfing 2 years ago again. Some nice courses here. So I started golfing again. My son golfs, so me and him get out. Okay. We try and get out as much as we can. Running around with the kids. We do a lot of swimming. That's about it.
That's about it?
Try and beat the heat.
Yeah, that's tough to do.
It's, like before, everybody's like, oh, how are you going to live in Vegas so hot? It's like, no, it's, I want that heat. And, the first summer here, it's like, oh, yeah, it's nice. It's always hot here. Man, year 2, 3, it's too hot. Like, it's too hot here. This week's been nice, but it's just too hot.
Too hot?
Man.
it is really hot.
It keeps the tan nice, but it's hot, I'm telling you.
You have a pool. I know you have a pool.
I got a pool, yeah.
Yeah, man, get out there and go in the pool. But, yeah, you're right. It is very hot, especially if you have hair.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm all nappy right now, what can I say?
So, hey, when you look back on the season, how everything ended with the Canadians, you guys as a team, I guess, what kind of sticks out in your mind to maybe why they beat you guys?
Well, I mean, they outplayed us. I mean, that's what it always comes down to. The way you look at it, it was disappointing again. We were, second place in the league. Again, a top team in the league, and another exit before we win the cup. So, anything but the cup is disappointing, and you're gonna look back and try and reflect and fix that. But again, it's going to be a hungry group next year. I think, forget the regular season. Obviously, you want to have a good regular season, but we gotta figure out the playoffs here, and I think next year we're looking good.
I like that. Yeah. I like that. Vegas-born fans like to hear that as well. Now, during the playoffs, I don't believe you played the final 3 games of the series. I know Pierre McGuire and a lot of the analysts from NBC Sports and guys, saying, man, they need to get Ryan Reaves in the lineup. Do you hear that kind of stuff? And I guess, what are your thoughts when peers and people that know hockey say that sort of thing?
I mean, yeah, my mom texted me about that, actually, that exact quote. It is what it is. Honestly, game 3, I played like garbage. I went to bed that night. I was like, I probably should get scratched. I ended up getting scratched. And the coach just made a decision. It is what it is. If you play like that, sometimes you're going to come out of the lineup. And it happened. I just got to fix it for next year.
And with that being said, you're leading to my next question. With that being said, what are things that you kind of identify when you watch tape of yourself, or maybe the coaches tell you at the end of the season that you know what, I'm going to work on this, that, and the third this offseason?
Well, I mean, I didn't have enough points this year. Obviously, they never signed me to come in and be the leading goal scorer, but you got to chip in, and having 1 goal this year isn't good enough for me. So obviously we got to put a couple in the back of the net. Just continue to play physical, stand up for teammates, that kind of stuff, be a good locker room guy, all that good stuff that I do. But, I got to contribute a little bit more.
I got you. Something that you probably know, but I'll tell you as a person who watched a lot of Vegas Golden Knights games and a member of the Vegas-born family, you affect the team in a great way. You know what I mean? As far as the physicality, when you're on the ice, the team seems to play differently. Guys, seem taller. I've heard announcers say that, guys seem taller and heavier when you're on when you're in the ice with them. Do you get that effect, and do you hear that sort of thing from maybe teammates or anything like that?
I've heard. It's funny. I played with Scotty Upshall and Kyle Brodziak in St. Louis, and they came up to me one day. We were out on the road, and they said, it's fun playing with you because I can just do anything on the ice. I was like, I mean, okay, I guess I'll take that as a compliment. But sometimes you do see it. Sometimes when I'm not in the lineup, I missed a couple games this year from injury. Yeah, you see other guys. They're a little bit taller on the other team, and they're a little more physical all of a sudden, and all of a sudden there's a couple more tough guys in the league. But yeah, that's why they brought me here.
Yeah, no, to keep the flies off the honey, so to speak. I think it's a
direct quote. There you go. You remember that from 4 years. That's good.
That's right. I got a big head, man.
You're a vault, eh?
How about Mark Stone? I mean, the fact that he actually even said that after like the Minnesota game. And I remember specifically taking that quote and saying something about it on the air. And then I believe like the next day they're asking DeBoer about everything else. The fact that these guys wouldn't act like this if Ryan was out here on the ice. I mean, to have the captain actually come out and say that publicly, that's got to make you feel pretty good.
I mean, anytime the captain talks good about you, it makes you feel good. And, Stoney he's a good leader. There's a reason why we traded for him and made him the captain right away. He's one of the best leaders I played for. And, for a guy to say that is never feels bad, that's for sure.
No, that's cool. Now, something somewhat serious to talk about. I'm very qualified to talk about this, the whole social justice initiative that the NHL took part of this year. You were like on the forefront of it. The main question is, why? Like, how did you become that person, and why take on such a huge responsibility for the entire NHL?
Yeah, I think with the temperature of North America especially, but around the world, things that had been happening. The NBA had stopped, the MLB had stopped, and just because we're a predominantly white sport doesn't mean that we couldn't send a message too. And there's not a lot of black players in the league. I'm one of those older guys that's kind of been around, and I think I've gained respect out of enough guys around the league to have those conversations with them. And so I thought that was something I needed to do.
I thought that you did a wonderful job with that. And I'm serious when I say that, too. I thought you did a wonderful job with that. Matter of fact, I didn't even text you about that.
We were in the bubble. It's all right.
Now you got back to me. So how about what the NHL did with Willie O'Ree? I had a chance to meet him, and obviously what he did for the game was a magnificent thing, a beautiful thing. I know personally what it's like to be like that guy. I go into the press box. I'm the only one at every hockey function that I ever cover. You know what I mean? So what did you think about what the NHL did in honoring Willie O'Ree this past year?
With that award?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's great. He's a guy that paved the way for, guys like me to play in sports. And, I think he needed to be honored. I think he needs to continue to be honored, especially in the NHL, but in sports in general. And so, I think the NHL took a great step this year in creating that award under his name, and I hope it continues.
That's cool. And one last on this, and I've honestly always wondered about this, especially in hockey, because you kind of alluded to it, the fact that, it's getting better. There's a lot more players that are coming in, PK Subban's and everyone and yourself. But what is it actually like to be a hockey player and to be a black man playing hockey? Like, do you have you ever had like any kind of run-ins or any kind of things that you can think of back in the day, like, hey, where's your credential? What are you doing walking around the?
Yeah, I've gone through a couple when I was younger. Nothing in the NHL, luckily. Not that I ever heard, I guess. But when in junior, I had a little run-in. In AAA, when I was right before that, I had a little run-in. I think as a young kid, when I heard that stuff, just because I wasn't exposed to it a lot, because Canada's pretty multicultural and pretty accepting. So when I heard that stuff, I think my mindset was more, okay, well, that's on you. You got to live with yourself. Like, I know I'm not what you just called me, so you go live with that, whatever you just said. But I think you're a little naive too when you're young, because you don't know how big of a problem that really is until you grow up and you see everything that's been going on and you start learning.
I got you. That's very true. I wonder what it's like that in Canada. I spent some time in Vancouver going to college right across the border and spent a lot of time up there. So Canada is definitely
don't get me wrong. It's still, there's still problems up there too. But, I think just, the school I went to, the area I grew up in, how I was brought up, I didn't have a lot of run-ins like that. So I think it was more like a shock of, I can't believe you just said that, but all right.
Yeah, I got you. And there's something else that I think is magnificent, a much better topic. the community work that you're doing here in Las Vegas, the street hockey that there's some videos that will pop up here in a second of you doing that. I guess why take on that here in Las Vegas? And, how has that whole initiative been? I know the kids are always happy to see you when you're out there.
It's been fun. Why Las Vegas? Because I call Vegas home now. I plan on retiring here for a good chunk of my life at least.
That's what we want to hear.
Yeah, we got the beer company and we got everything else, but I want to call this place home. So when you've had a life like me and privilege like me, you got to give back to the community. And so we do the ball hockey tournaments. We're building the ball hockey rink, which has been delayed a little bit, but we're working on it. We're hoping to have it up and running before the year ends. It was supposed to be September. We'll see.
There you go. There's a video behind us there.
Yeah, there we go. Well, that's not the one
the
we're
specific
building.
One,
yeah. But yeah, no, I think just it's important for people like me who have had the opportunity to play a sport that they loved or do anything that they love and get paid a fair amount of money to do it, to be able to give back. And for me, I've always wanted to give back to kids. I think when I was younger, going to these signings with the Winnipeg Jets guys, a Winnipeg Jet guy talked to me for 50 seconds. Well, that was the coolest 50 seconds of my life. And I remember that. And so being able to give that back to kids right now is important to me, I think.
Yeah, no, I mean, I sent you a picture of me talking to Ice Cube, and I'm not a kid anymore.
That's a good fill-in, though. That was a good fill-in. I guess if you can't get me down here, you bring in Ice Cube. I guess so.
Yeah. I had to find somebody to talk to me.
I guess so.
But those kind of things definitely stick with you. Yeah, I completely get that.
Yeah.
Completely get that. Now, hey, something that's pretty cool that's coming up, the Battle for Vegas. We competed in it. I say we because I was on your team, but I didn't do a whole bunch.
But I didn't do anything. I got walked 4 times. They're all scared of me, so I didn't do much either.
Everybody's scared of the Grim Reaver, man. I don't know what the deal is.
I was in the outfield drinking beer and catching balls at the same time, though. I do remember that.
I remember that. I'm surprised you remember that, but I actually remember that. You and Derek England, man, he was partaking just a little bit. But how about it's coming up there? I shouldn't have told on that. Some dry snitching over here.
Yeah, okay. What's going on here?
But yeah, it's coming up again. Riley and you guys, you're competing in it again, taking on the Raiders. The Raiders are actually here in town now, but how exciting and how much are you looking forward to doing that? Because it was a lot of fun.
It was fun. Honestly, it was a great event. Riley Smith, he does a really good job with it. Obviously bringing the Knights and the Raiders together is good for the community. I think a lot of fans like to see stuff like that, see their 2 favorite sports teams battling it out together and good fun and going to a good charity. So, yeah.
Yeah, are you going to compete in the home run contest or do anything?
You know what? I don't know. I'm going to let the young kids do it this year.
The young kids.
The young kids can do that. I'll be on the sideline with one of those probably.
I hear you with one of those. Perfect segue. You've done this television thing before.
You always got to push the segue that way,
7.5. We're looking at it right now. These are some of the different beers that we have. You see, we got the Dawnbreaker. We got Training Day. Shiver Giver.
Shiver Giver. That's a red one right there.
Okay. Shiver. How did you come up with Shiver Giver?
So we have a story behind every beer.
Yes.
And when we were looking to do the IPA, where we were at in the storyline, it was it wasn't the Grim Reaver, which was the end of the story, which was the biggest baddest guy out there. It was right before that, and we wanted to figure out something that was before that. And it was a moment where it was just like, wow. I'm here. It was like one of those moments, and then we were trying to figure out a name for that. Well, Shiver Giver came, and Shiver Giver was born.
Shiver Giver. What is Shiver? Is it like shaking giver, or is that
no,
shiver?
That feeling like gives you shivers.
Okay, yes. I mean? Gotcha. Okay, Shiver and Showtime, which I didn't even know about, but in looking it up, I mean, you got exclusive beer at MGM.
Yeah.
Like, dang, man.
Yeah, and Grim Reaver's out there too.
Yes.
Don't forget about that one.
No, the Grim Reaver. I remember talking to you before the Grim Reaver came out, and I think that's obviously I think that's one of the better names, man. I like Grim Reaver. Who gave you that name? Do you know?
You know what? I had a fight in St. Louis.
No.
No, well, it was very, very rare. It was a rare occasion, but I had a fight randomly after I scored like 3 goals before that. But somebody tweeted it at me, and it kind of caught fire on Twitter for the time being. And then, there was signs in the stands, Grim Reaver, and, people were calling me that. And it kind of stayed in St. Louis for a bit and died down, and then when I came here, it kind of picked back up again. So that's the nickname.
That's what I'm talking about. And talking about picking back up, I mean, does it? I know the answer is no, but does it ever get old, like being Ryan Reaves here in Las Vegas? I mean, do you really ever think that you would come to Las Vegas and be one of those guys that like fans? They really like you here, man.
Never in a million years. It's funny. The first day I came here, I went up to Aria to eat, and I think I was by myself at Carbone.
Really?
And I was like, yeah. Well, I had nobody here. My girl and the kids were
Should
back
hit
home.
your guy. No, yeah.
Well, I didn't know anybody yet.
I know.
And so I was just grabbing a quick bite, and I was like, yeah, okay, I easily can hide in here. And especially because when I came here, it's like, well, when you go down to the Strip, it's mostly tourists,
exactly.
so nobody's really going to know who you are down there anyways. And especially me, like I'm not like a top player in the
like
NHL.
Flower walking around.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm a fourth line guy going down the Strip. First day in Vegas, okay, I'll be fine. And 2 tables were fighting over buying my meal. I was like, how do you know who I like? It's been great. Honestly, I've had fun, and and the fans are really good here. They're very, very respectful. Obviously sometimes they want some pictures, but it's never overbearing or anything. I love the fans here. They're great.
That's ridiculous. They're fighting over who pays for your meal.
Yeah.
Can I get some of that Ryan Reaves treatment?
Yeah.
Folks, hey, if you want to pay for
you want to pay for his meal, hit him up.
That's right. You don't even have to fight. All right. Well, last but not least, man, they just announced today that that training camp is coming up in like a few months, like September or something. Like, I mean, after what you guys had in the bubble and then the season came up really quickly, it was shortened and whatnot. Does it seem like that and the season's almost right back here?
Yeah, I mean, but it usually does when you go to the conference final, the final, you know what I mean? It's usually a quick turnaround. And so, where we wanted to be, we wanted to be Stanley Cup champions, and we were expecting to have a short summer anyways. Obviously, it's disappointing we have a short summer without the Stanley Cup. But, I think we were all prepared for that. So, yeah, I saw that in the background there. But I think we were all prepared for a short summer, and we'll adjust accordingly.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. You know what? I'm sorry. I have to ask you this. I didn't see you, and please tell me that you went, because I know you're a huge fan of the UFC, man. Did you go to the Conor McGregor fight?
I did.
Okay. You're hiding in the...
Funny story, too. I was sitting right behind Jake Paul. I tapped him on the shoulder. I say, hey, are you ever going to fight somebody your size? He's like, well, who should I fight? I was like, well, you should fight me.
Come get this work.
I don't know if he took it seriously or not, but I said it. You remember it.
Jake Paul, come get this work from Ryan Reaves.
Come get that work. I told him when I retired, though. He's like, when are you going to retire? I said, I don't know. Whenever they kick me out of the league, so we'll see.
That's really. Did he know? I mean, after you explain who you were and whatnot, because I'm assuming he's not like a hockey guy.
No, he didn't know who
so
was, no.
That's pretty cool. Okay. What did you think of the event? Because I mean, having Conor McGregor here, Dustin Poirier.
Yeah, I mean, McGregor's good for the sport, and I was hoping he kind of won. His swag brings a little bit to the sport. Not that there's not a lot of swag in the sport as it is, but. I was disappointed he didn't win. I hope they give him another rematch.
Yeah.
I really do.
I got you. Dang, I'm sorry I keep coming with more questions. I got a couple minutes. I had to ask you about this. Keegan Colasar came out and he said some really, really, really good things about you. The fact that you kind of mentored him and whatnot. What kind of things, if you can share, like have you kind of, talked to Keegan about in his journey? Because I mean, he really make a huge step, from the first year to this past year.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing was at the beginning of the year, he cracked the lineup. And, then we had the salary cap issue, so we were playing with 5D, 13 forwards. Well, as a 13th forward, you're basically just filling in a couple spots here and there. You're playing 3-4 minutes a night. And, it can be demoralizing, it can be frustrating because, you know what you can do, but you can't go out there and show it in 4 minutes. You can go out there and have a good shift, and then sit for 10 minutes, and then go and have a bad shift, and then sit for 15 minutes, and then, and there's penalties, and there's intermissions and all that, so, you're sitting on the bench a lot. And it's tough to do. I've been there without 13 forwards. I played 4 minutes a night, back at the beginning of my career. I've been there, so, I just told him, when you get your opportunity, don't be frustrated, make the most of the shift, don't try and overdo it, because then you're going to start making mistakes, and then they're going to start losing you. So, I just wanted to make sure that he wasn't getting demoralized with what his role was, And then, you look what happened. We had some injuries. He came into the lineup, and he played great. And I thought he had a great season for his first year, and I think he's going to be a player in this league.
I completely agree. Now, did you give him any tips on
Goal scoring?
Them paws, man? Them paws, man.
He's tough, too.
Yeah, he had a nice little uppercut.
Man, he caught a couple people.
Yeah.
He did.
You don't talk to him about that? Like, hey, man, listen.
You know what? I guess I would have, but I didn't. Doesn't look like I knew to. I mean, I'm sure we'll spar a little bit on the ice this year. He'll get whooped up if he tries to step up, but no, I'll help him out if he needs it, but it doesn't look like he needs it.
I like that. Oh, give him a compliment, but still got to let him know.
You always got to let the young kids know. You got to let them know their place, always.
And his place is right here next to me, my guy, Ryan Reaves. Man, I appreciate you coming in. Thank you very, very much.
Anytime.
Man. My guy. Thank you.